Hello, I'm Kurt van Wyk, and I want to share with you Vicarius Filii Dei and Christians' connection with the 600 plus 60 plus 6, which is 666. Um, the end of postmodernism in 1989 and the beginning of Digi-modernism brought with it also the Y2 expectancy at the millennial turn in 2000. What was heightened in the arts and literature of this period is especially eschatology and pockets or excerpts from the biblical books like Revelation and 666, which was inserted in the movies, dramas, books, and advertisements. Millennial fever created also a secular apocalyptic of its own. It's like a cult in secularism. When 911 came, the world changed to new past future. Past because some called it paramodernism. What was expected as trauma in the movies, the earthquakes, the tsunamis, and actually happened, and the artist could see that what they created, the agony that they created before, is now actually real agony in 911. It became reality, and it actually happened at 911 with the terror attacks, 311 with Japan's earthquake and tsunami, and 1111 with Philippines hurricane and tsunami. And for them, the future has arrived. The secular world plays around with all kinds of ideas, and regarding 666 even, of Revelation 13 verse 18. That's where it is. And they sometimes talk with so much security and confidence using ontology, the way you live, your experience, ontology, phenomenology, and existentialism as source for understanding. I am aware, and we are aware, of J. Moltmann encourages ontology as a source for eschatology. It is necessary to look at one particular interpretation that has gained a stable acceptance by a wide range of Christians in many denominations for centuries, but which is not fully historically understood by many, and especially today. I want to talk about the Latin term Vicarius Filii Dei and its application to clerical functions in the Church of the Byzantine times until very recently. Of course, it's in the Roman Catholic Church term. What makes the term noteworthy is that the Roman numerical counting or gematria of this title, we're talking about the title, right? Of this title, the gematria of the title actually adds up to 600 plus 60 plus 6, which is Revelation 13 verse 18, 666. Now it may sound very controversial for some. It will be controversial because it touched the very essence of their own church. But this is an aspect everybody is asking, what does 666 in Revelation 13 verse 18 mean? And they've got all kinds of theories, barcodes and so on. But now let us look. The literature on this topic is extant for a very long period. that stretch over centuries. Many people wrote about it. Starting from the most recent literature on the topic of the role of Vicarius Filii Dei and the counting of 666 is a work, their most recent one, an updated one, by a South African professor, historian and professor in Latin America, living in Texas, of about 800 to 1,000 pages that was published in 2013. He wrote poetry in Esperanto and a grammar of the language as well. Edwin de Kock. And he was assisted by many scholars and researchers for this magnus opus of his. It is the most comprehensive treatment until 2013 of this topic. The research team of de Kock et al. Also found another edition of Andreas Helwig, dated to 1630, indicating that Vicarius Filii Dei should be connected to a Roman counting system adding up to 666. There are scholars who objected that Latin should be used for the counting, and others who answered the objections in the past. There are scholars who rejected that the title was ever used. Others who say it was used but then stopped to be used. And others who said that it was never on the clothing of anyone in the Roman Catholic Church. In the 1930s, Leroy Froom studied the topic and traveled all over Europe to search for data. His results were seen for many years as the most updated on this topic. Then for the next decades, until the Kock scholars were divided into scholars were divided into two camps of optimism and pessimism of Christians within their own ranks. And de Kock traced the title from the earliest times, and also its use within the church, the Catholic Church, the issues of forgery, of the what they call the donation of Constantine, which used it also centuries and centuries ago, and many related problems. The three Latin editions of Helwig were 1610, 1618, and 1630. And they are analyzed with the help of modern Latin linguists on key passages, and this is all in de Kock's book. The title originated shortly after Constantine, and its appearance on a document ascribed by some later to Constantine is apparently a forgery. It was used by clergy to uphold their primacy of mediating function on earth. It cannot be found on any clothing of clergy recently, but from 1877, there is a Belgium tiara that reads Vicarius Christi. The term Vicarius Christi is the same as the term Vicarius Filii Dei in content